I don't know when I have to put my video back. I think it's after. I cannot hear you.
Okay, we're live. Hello, everybody who's going to be joining us over the next little bit. This is Collab Sound, part of the 2021 Fringe Art Bath Festival. We have a live performance for you this evening by the artist Netz. She was part of our exhibition last year, doing some live streaming, and we're so thankful to have her back again this year. We do just want to have a little warning ahead of time. There is going to be some flashing lights and some strobe lights as a part of the performance this evening. So if you do need to be cautious about that, do be aware. We're going to have about 25-minute performance this evening and then stick around for a little Q&A and a chat afterwards. So do stick around and I hope you enjoy the performance. I'm going to hand over and enjoy the show. Thank you so much for that, Laura. What a fantastic performance this evening. I guess we'll have a quick little catch up and a quick Q&A to top this off. For those of you who haven't checked out the Collab Sound festival yet, do head over to the Fringe Art Bath website. Check out everybody else that has an amazing festival lineup as well. But you can check out more about everything we have going on at the Collab Sound version as well. I guess we can just hand over and say, hello, that was fantastic. How do you feel about another performance?
Hello, it's such a pleasure, such an honor to be hosted by Fringe Arts Bath Collab this year. It has been it has been a shame that we cannot be in a physical venue, but you know that's COVID restrictions still on place, so we are enjoying from home. Thank you very much, Marley, and all your team.
Well, we're just so happy to have you back. We had such an amazing festival last year, and so I'm so glad you were able to come back with us. I wanted to chat a little bit about kind of what you've been up to over the last year and since the last festival, and kind of some of the projects you've been working on, and then also still adapting online as well. So, can you tell us a bit about that?
Yes, since last year I've been collaborating with the Eclectic Art Lab. We have been organizing online gigs. I'm promoter for Sonic Electronics. Sonic Electronics is an event that happens monthly at the Eclectic and other venues in London. I'll try to collaborate with this type of cafe auto venues, alternative underground for electronic, experimental electronic music, and also improvisation scene, a little bit of free jazz and all this sort of unexplored and sounds and music. So thanks to the team at Eclectic, we have been able to produce such a amount of good work, and I've also produced the Art Futura Festival, which is more centered in new media digital art, but it has also take place in the digital space. And yeah, we have learned a lot about the streaming technologies, and we have improved a lot our techie skills in that area because well, nowadays you need it. We host artist talks, live performances, and video screenings, and all happen it online. So this year, since last March, my activity has been mostly on the digital space. And yeah, been composing music or improvising electronics. Recently, I have been working with the handmade scene. I have been working with a drum machine which is made by Pure Data by my partner Claude Elanale Nakamather, which is a software developer and an artist as well. But I have today for my performance, I have taken this detector. So recently, I have just retaken these type of DIY handmade instruments as well.
I mean, I have so much to talk about from that, but I think the first thing that really kind of jumped out to me, and kind of what jumped out to me from kind of the work we did together last year as well, is this notion of the history of sound art, and the kind of beginnings of sound art did come in from, you know, the looking at the jazz of sound art and the kind of rise of electronica music, and that it has such a long history with experimental sound when it comes to kind of like the fine art sense of it. And so what was really exciting to me is this kind of continued evolution and this continued underground development of artists working today. So I'm so glad to hear that you've been able to continue doing live shows, continue doing live gigs, and kind of also expand your festival that you've been working on as well. Um, Out of kind of the um, next, I guess, year, when hopefully things are starting to get back to a little bit more of a normal, hopefully, what are some things you're really wanting to kind of achieve in this next year as we hopefully transfer from that digital back into a physical setting? And is there anything from the digital arena that you'd want to kind of keep going on forward?
Well, I think that we're gonna establish hybrids. We are back to the venue, fortunately for us, on this 19th of June. So venues are opening at 30% of capacity. So I'll invite all the spectators here, all audiences, please come join us because it's gonna be really exciting, and we have an amazing lineup with Milo Taylor, Jake Williams, and also we have part of the Soundcam Rebel, and it's gonna be at Eclectic, which is an amazing outdoors, indoors venue. We have a lovely garden. We can share our lockdown experiences. We can exchange our feelings, and it's gonna be lovely. I know. And from the future onwards, I think we need to start promoting hybrid events. I would like to. Well, I've been doing it in the Sonic Electronics Festival. I've been streaming online all our gigs while we were in place in the venue. So I hope we're gonna continue developing this type of hybrid events. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's fantastic because there's something, I don't know, there's something that feels so right when we're talking about, I don't know, maybe so right or maybe so wrong when we're talking about kind of underground electronica and kind of new developing this kind of new wave to follow, that we also adapt the digital into that because we've kind of been forced into it. But there's something that makes the underground more accessible in a time where we can't get together and we can't have a bit of a party. Um, so I'm looking forward to having a bit of a party again, and I will definitely come along because I think that would be a blast.
You're very welcome. Yes. It's
um,
gonna be amazing. Yeah.
and I think one thing I wanted to talk about as well is you kind of mentioned kind of some DIY sounds and some DIY equipment. How over this lockdown have you really got back into that DIY mindset? And is there anything new that you want to try to make, or new that you know, obviously you had some new tech that you were trying out for the performance as well. Is there anything that you're hoping to play around with in the next little bit?
Well, I'm sincere. I mean, all the I've named them technocultural apparatus. There is a huge exploration that I'm doing around this type of artifacts that are made in these hacking methodologies, and I still have hope in their utopic perspective and their utopic force, but I'm not a creative developer myself. I always use other artists, hackers that they develop themselves. And what I do, because I'm a curator, I do a little bit of a selection of their pieces, the best instruments, or this type of technocultural artifacts. So there is a lot of discussion because from one perspective, there is a position that they say this type of technocultural apparatus, even they are radical and they are against the hegemonic, let's say, more capitalistic, made for profit technologies, they are still subsumed into the system because they are rooted in these policies or histories of technology that belong to this system of materialist um, approach to technology, and this materialist perspective makes them rooted into this technocratic system, even they are ideologically against it. But that's why I call them technocultural apparatus, because culturally they are engaged in an ideology against the system, but materially they are rooted in the same system that they go against. So it's a bit of a contradictorial position. But then from the other side, I think that, as we were talking about, from the other side, there's always the space for imagination and keep them as an utopic perspective and imaginative force to build and construct. So what I mostly do with my performance is select these different artists. So for example, this one is Martin House, who is a hacker that works in sound music. The synth is made by Noizot, Cyril Henry, which is an active member of the Pure Data community. And then I'll have the drum machine from Claude Aylan Allen, who is also a software developer, and he also uses this type of coding and hacking methodologies. So that's so I'm not a developer myself. I have been tinkering with electronics since the last 4 or 5 years, creating oscillators and some detectors. I have um, I have developed an instrument which I named the Solarizer, which is built up with solar cells and is reactive to music, and it creates very high and low frequencies dependent to the light, and it creates a very rhythmic corrosive noise. And but for now, I think I want to focus on the theoretical aspect of this technocultural apparatus, which are musical instruments, and see if I can get rid out of my continuous contradictions and uh, find out a positive solution to musical creativity.
I mean, we've talked about this before, but there's such an interesting, it's such an interesting kind of topic and nitpick and theory and kind of contradiction around our use of technology and the way that it's produced and the way that we consume it, and then using that in a kind of hacktivist and kind of DIY context. And obviously we're going to have our workshop on the weekend that's looking at hacking technology as well. And so I think there's a really current thread in a lot of digital experimental artists and digital sound artists when it comes to the actual materials we're using and where they come from. But also, just as you were kind of going through all of your different materials really in front of you, there's a community element there and a collaborative element there. And I think there's there's something really nice about knowing who you're working with or who you're working from, and the legacy of some of those instruments and objects as well.
Yes,
Fab.
yes.
Well, I think we're just coming up to about 40 minutes, and I think we might wrap up here. But I want to say thank you again so much. It's been an honor to have you back. And we still do have a little bit more of the festival to come as well. So do, everybody watching, do make sure to check it out and make sure to follow up with some of the events we have coming up on the weekend as well. A big round of applause and an amazing performance. It's been so great to chat with you again, and hopefully we'll see you this weekend. We will say goodbye to everybody here. Have a good night, and hopefully next time we'll see you in person.